Time for another Dungeon Meshi recipe, this time featuring that. No, Marcel, not gearing up in our frog suit, but a mother and child cocktris and egg dish made with mandrake roots and leaves, dryad fruit, and depetrification herbs in one hearty and tasty dish. Mandrake roots will be dried gourd strips, aka Compio. It doesn't look like mandrake now, but it will. Compio is bleached, which is what you normally buy, and needs to be cleaned. Put the Compio in a bowl of water. I chose Compio to save dogs and giant bats from dying by pulling mandrakes out of the ground. Plus, I don't have access to real mandrakes. Wash the Compio lightly in the water for a few minutes. Transfer the Compio to a new bowl of water after and let it soak for a few minutes. If you have a weight like an Otoshibuta to keep the Compio from floating to the surface, use it. I'll link in the description a quick DIY Otoshibuta which I made if needed. After the few minutes, drain the bowl from the water, then massage the Compio until it becomes soft. Note, you can make the Compio or mandrake before you plan to cook the cocktris and egg dish, aka Oyakodon, as long as you store it in an airtight container to prevent molding. After the massage, add a teaspoon of salt. Massage the salt into the Compio to remove the preservatives in it. You might recognize the name Compio as a dish from a sushi restaurant. Now you'll rinse off the salt under running water while lightly squeezing the Compio. By the way, I chose Compio for mandrakes as I felt it would be the closest in texture and color to mandrakes and easily accessible for those who wish to make the dish too. Put the Compio in a boiling pot of water for 10 minutes to cook. If you can make a small dent with your fingernail in the cooked Compio, you're done cooking. Take the Compio out of the water and place it into a colander to cool and drain. When the Compio is cool enough to touch, you'll squeeze out the excess water over a bowl, then leave it on the side for the next step. In a pot, you'll put 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, 2.5 tablespoons of soy sauce, 2 tablespoons of mirin. Mix it all together over medium-high heat. When the sauce is boiling, add the Compio. After you add the Compio, turn the heat down to medium-low. Thoroughly mix the Compio and sauce so the Compio is completely covered in the sauce. Now you're seeing it become more mandrake-like in color. Let the Compio simmer to absorb the sauce, made easier by putting Otoshibuta on top of it. When the sauce has been absorbed, which you can tell by the mostly sauceless pot's bottom, turn off the heat and let the Compio absorb whatever sauce is left and cool down. You're now done making your mandrake. Now you're gonna make cocktris egg by making Japanese Kimizu sauce. You could say it's like Japanese hollandaise sauce, as the main ingredients are egg yolks and sushi vinegar. Separate 3 egg yolks from egg whites. Start by cracking 1 egg on a flat surface, and there's a couple options to easily separate the two. One way is holding a cracked egg over a bowl, then pouring the egg yolk in the eggshell halves constantly while letting the egg whites spill over into the bowl. Another way, which I personally like, is to first crack an egg into a bowl. After that, get a clean and empty plastic soda bottle, squeeze it, put it over the egg yolk, and then release the squeeze on the bottle so the bottle vacuums up the egg yolk while you quickly angle it up so the egg yolk goes into the bottle whole. If you're not fast enough, the yolk can break as you see here. That's okay, as you can simply get as much of the egg yolk out as you can and put it into the pot you're going to use later. This is how it looks if you're successful at it. In a small pot, add the 3 egg yolks. Add 1 tablespoon of sugar. Add 1 tablespoon of mirin. Add 1 tablespoon of soy sauce. Add 1 tablespoon of sushi vinegar. Add 2 tablespoons of dashi. Add a pinch of salt. Hold 2 pairs of wooden chopsticks together and constantly mix everything together in the pot by keeping the chopsticks on the bottom of the pot and don't stir too hard. In a larger pot which the small pot can fit into, put a small dish towel or something similar inside it. I use a cheesecloth. Add enough water to cover the top of the towel, then put it on the stovetop and turn it on to boil the water. When the water is boiling, turn it down to medium, then put the small pot with the egg mixture inside the bigger pot on top of the towel. Start mixing continuously with the chopsticks again. Be sure to keep the chopstick tips on the bottom of the pot. When the egg mixture starts to thicken a little, take the small pot out of the large pot and continue to stir for around 10 to 15 seconds to let the pot cool down and so the eggs don't become scrambled eggs. Put the small pot back in the big pot again while still mixing continuously, then take it out again when it starts to thicken and repeat the process of in and out for around 5 minutes. When you start, it doesn't look like it's thickening, but it will given time. This is an easy and quick sauce you can make to flavor your dishes, most of the time on boiled or steamed vegetables. You'll notice it's thick enough when you're mixing and can clearly see the bottom of the pot and the Kimizu sauce sticks to your chopsticks. If you want a lighter colored Kimizu sauce, use light soy sauce, though I think the standard soy sauce is better to match the color of the cockatrice eggs seen in the anime. You could use a little less soy sauce too if you don't want it as dark. Take the pot off the stove, turn off the stove, and then pour the Kimizu sauce onto a plate to cool down, then refrigerate it if you're not going to use it immediately. It takes a while to cook the barley that was found lying around, so you'll start that next. Add 200 milliliters of water to a small pot, then boil the water. This recipe is for one person, so you'll put 50 grams of pearl barley in the pot. Add a pinch of salt, then turn the heat down to simmer. Put a lid on the pot and let it cook, around 20 minutes. For the dryad fruit, I'm using kabocha. This is a 40-ounce kabocha. Kabochas are hard to initially cut through, unless you're using Senshi's axe, so I recommend putting it in the microwave for a minute or two. Don't worry, it won't go kaboom like the Undine from Marcel's fire spells for that short a time in the microwave. Warning, it will be hot to touch when it's done softening in the microwave, so you might need to wait a minute or two before holding it to cut it in half. After you cut it in half, take a spoon and spoon out the seeds and fibrous strands. Microwave it for 2 minutes to make it easier to cut into chunks. To cut the kabocha, lay the half side down with the skin side up, then cut it into small wedges. Cut the skin off the wedges. The skin is edible, but for appearances of the dryad fruit, you'll cut off the skin and use the kabocha flesh. After the skin is removed, you'll cut the flesh into small chunks and put it to the side for later. For the depetrification herbs, after examining what they look like in the manga and anime, daikon radish sprouts were the closest in resemblance. To prep the sprouts, all you need to do is cut about 3/4 an inch from the bottom where the roots are. You'll now cut your kampyo, mandrake root, into bite-sized pieces. For the mandrake leaves, I chose kale, but you can choose another leafy vegetable of your choice. I like how vibrant green kale is when it's cooked, and it adds a nice mouthfeel as well, which stands out when eaten with everything together. Kale is easy to cut too. Simply cut out the thick stem in the middle, then cut the leaf into smaller pieces. About now, the barley will be done cooking, which you can see by looking in the pot and seeing 99% of the water absorbed by the barley. Turn off the stovetop, then move the barley to the side. You'll now prep the cocktris rib meat, which you'll substitute with 2 medium-sized chicken breasts. You'll grind the chicken by first diagonally cutting the cold chicken. Cold works best when grinding/cutting on a cutting board from the top to about 75% of the way to the bottom. You can buy ground chicken if you like, but I find grinding my own chicken to be tastier, which you can do with a sharp knife like Senshi. Flip the chicken breast around and repeat the process of cutting down to 75%. By the way, you can wear gloves while grinding the chicken if you wanted to. Flip the chicken again, then cut vertically, as it's now easier to cut all the way to the bottom and is also prepped to be grinded. Keep the pieces together, then start cutting the chicken breast into smaller pieces a couple of times. After they're cut up, bring them as close together as possible while still being flat on your cutting board. You'll now take your knife and chop across in a constant up and down motion, with the chopping motion staying as close as possible to the one before it. When you've chopped across the chicken once, repeat it going the opposite direction. When you reach the end, turn your knife upside down, push the chicken flatly back together, then flip one side on top of the other. You'll need to put some Senshi strength into it, so your arm might get tired. If you need to rest a bit, please do, but before you rest, cover the chicken in saran wrap and put it in the fridge for food safety and to make the chicken cold again for easier cutting when you return from your rest. You'll repeat the chop, push together, flip, and chop again process a few times to grind your chicken to a preferred size, which you'll see soon. Once the chicken is ground up into smaller pieces and a little sticky to touch, you're done grinding. To start cooking, put a large pan on the stovetop, turn heat on to medium, then when it's warm, add cooking oil. Add the cocktris rib meat / ground chicken to the pan to cook first. Add a pinch of salt and black pepper to the chicken, then start cooking the chicken. When the cocktris meat is about 80% done, add the mandrake, compio and kale leaves, and the depetrification herbs, daikon radish sprouts. Toss and turn the contents of the pan until the sprouts and kale have wilted, about 2 minutes. After the greens are wilted, add the dryad fruit, kabocha, into the pan for a couple minutes to finish cooking this dish. As the kabocha is soft from being cooked previously in the microwave, it doesn't need to cook as long as everything else. Don't be too rough when tossing and turning at this point so that the kabocha retains its shape. You could serve this dish in a bowl, but I wanted to use dungeon cleaners for my bowl. I have this silicone loaf pan which has little stripes on it which reminds me of dungeon cleaners, so I'll be using it to represent my stone baked dish made of dungeon cleaner secretion. In your dungeon cleaner dish, you'll first put a layer of the barley you found evenly spread out. You can reheat it in the microwave as your barley likely has gotten cold by now. Next you'll add the cockatrice rib meat, mandrake root with leaves, dryad fruit, and depetrification herbs. To finish the dish, you'll add the cockatrice egg on top. Your cockatrice stone-baked mother and child dish with starchy sauce is now complete, and you get to enjoy another Dungeon Meshi inspired dish you made yourself. Let's get everything together in one spoonful. The mandrake leaf is a really nice contrasting color. Cockatrice rib meat looks soft and cooked nicely. Itadakimasu. The cockatrice egg has a rich savory flavor packed with umami. Cockatrice rib meat is tender, well seasoned, and has a nice mouthfeel. The mandrake root is savory and has a bit of a crunch to it, so you have to chew it more, but it releases all the flavor infused into it. As for the leaves, they give a nice textured but soft mouthfeel. I don't get much from the depetrification herbs, but that's okay. Need to get your greens in, right? They're an excellent source of vitamins. The dried fruit is soft, a little sweet, and has a bit of grainy texture due to its species. The found barley is soft yet firm, and it does require more chewing, but more chewing means you'll also feel fuller and better for digestion too. When you eat everything together, there's a delicious balance of food to enjoy, from the savory umami of the cockatrice egg to the soft yet sweet dryad fruit. This is certainly a dungeon meal which will fill you up and give you lots of nutrients too for doing a task such as dungeon exploration, or in my case, washing dishes after I'm done eating, haha. Tell me, what do you like about Dungeon Meshi? Is it the food, storyline, characters, art, or even all the above and more? The other day I read people who have a hard time eating, don't like to cook, and or are picky eaters who've read Dungeon Meshi became more adventurous eaters / cooks because of it. I've never heard of manga encouraging people to cook and eat more after reading it, which I find amazingly wholesome and wonderful. In this video I've shown you how to make 3 different Japanese foods from scratch: mother and child bowl, aka oyakodon, kampyo, and kimizu sauce. So hopefully by making this Dungeon Meshi recipe in real life, as well as more in the future, I hope it encourages others to be more adventurous eaters and cooks as well. By the way, did you know Roku Kui, the mangaka for Dungeon Meshi, is also a picky eater? Interesting, right? To make this dungeon recipe dish, you'll need 2 medium-sized chicken breasts, 1 package of kampyo, 3 medium-sized eggs, 50 grams of pearl barley, 1 medium-sized kabocha, 1 large kale leaf, and 4 ounces of daikon radish sprouts. For seasoning, you'll need 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, 3.5 tablespoons of soy sauce, 3 tablespoons of mirin, 1 tablespoon of sushi vinegar, 2 tablespoons of dashi, 1 tablespoon of sugar, salt, black pepper, and water. You can buy the ingredients you'll need through the links in the description. Support the mangaka by buying the manga, which is complete and fully translated in English, linked in the description, and look forward to more by Roku Kui in the future. Check out our other Dungeon Meshi recipe videos to enjoy cooking and eating too. I really like to read manga, especially food manga, and to spend part of my day thinking about how to make it in real life, especially fantasy themed food manga like Dungeon Meshi. Let me know which recipe you want to see next. Hope you enjoyed watching, and please subscribe if you did for more Dungeon Meshi recipe videos from our favorite chef dwarf in the future. Until next time, do as Senshi says to conquer the day. Improve your eating habits, get enough sleep, and exercise to get stronger.